Our message title for this week is Food Giver. Now there's a name I'm sure you've heard Jesus called before. Jesus provides all our needs, but over and over again in the Bible, God and Jesus tell us to feed the hungry. In books like Ezekiel, Isaiah, Proverbs, Romans, and so on and so on. Now I hope that none of you have ever gone hungry. But if you have, I hope you know that you can come to the church and ask for help. Now, when I say church, I don't mean the building. I mean the people, because we are here for you always. Sometimes people feel embarrassed and ashamed to ask for help. But I know that when you give something, you give it with a happy and loving heart because you're different, seeing, being, and doing things like Jesus wants you to. So when you ask for help, people want to give the same way you do, with happy, loving hearts. Now, there are quite a few stories of God and Jesus giving people food in the Bible, but the one story that we're talking about today is when Jesus feeds over 5,000 people with 5 small loaves of bread and 2 small fish. Sounds impossible, but nothing is impossible with God.
John 6 verse 5. When Jesus looked up and saw a great crowd coming toward him, he said to Philip, "Where shall we buy bread for these people to eat?" He asked this only to test him, for he already had in mind what he was going to do. Philip answered him, "I would take more than half a year's wages to buy enough bread for each one to have a bite." Another of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. "Here is a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. But how far will they go among so many?" Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." There was plenty of grass in that place, and they sat down. About 5,000 men were there. Jesus then took loaves, gave thanks, and distributed to those who were seated as much as they wanted. He did the same with the fish. When they had all had enough to eat, he said to his disciples, "Gather the pieces that are left over. Let nothing be wasted." So they gathered them and filled 12 baskets with the pieces of 5 barley loaves left over by those who had eaten.
Last week we spoke about being brave and doing the right thing, even if we're the only one. We also spoke about standing up and speaking out when we see something happening that is wrong, like if someone is being bullied. But we did say that that can be scary because we're still young. But if you look at the Bible story that was read by Kyle today, you will see that Jesus was able to feed all of these people because one young boy was brave enough to stand up and give his food to Jesus so that he could bless it, multiply it, and use it. It's so very important for you as a young person to see that it was a young person who stepped up and did the right thing. Out of 5,000 people, it was a young person who was prepared to give his food away and give it to Jesus. In the same way, you can also help feed the hungry as a young person. You might not think that you have much, but if you give it to Jesus, he can do incredible things with it. If you need some ideas, we've put some in the parent guide this week. There's inspiration like you could make sandwiches, or you could donate tinned food. You could help pets by donating pet food for families who might have lost their jobs. You could help babies by donating nappies and baby food. And what about all those toys that you don't play with anymore? Or clothes that you might have outgrown? There are lots of children who would love toys to play with and new clothes. Now I know that you aren't allowed to share food at school at the moment, but there's a young boy that I know who used to take extra food to school to give to his friends whose families couldn't afford lunch. And did you know that by coming to Kids for Jesus, you also used to help people? Remember that offering bag that used to go around and you put your money in and then someone used to pray over it? Well, the adults used to do that as well, and all that money would be used to help people. So ask your mom or dad, I'm sure they'd love to help you. And remember, the Milnerton Methodist Church is connected to lots of great organizations that help our community. So reach out and we would love to help you give. If you look back at the Bible story, you'll see that Jesus doesn't just give everyone enough. He gives more than enough. But someone needed to step up and give so that Jesus could bless what was given, multiply what was given, and use it to bless others. Jesus wants to do so much more for you and for me and for everyone than just feed us with food. He wants to meet all our needs. He wants to make us whole. But we need to step up and give what we have to Jesus so that He can bless it, multiply it, and use it. And maybe that is food, but it could be our time or our service or our prayers or our clothes or our toys. Jesus wants to help you bless our community.